With the PlayStation 3 store closing down during the month of July, everybody's freaking out and trying to figure out which games they should buy before the store shuts down. In one of my previous videos, I talked about a few of the games that I really do think you should check out because they are maybe PS3 digital exclusives or classic games ported to this console, and they are still awesome to play. Hey friends, Juan here, welcome back. I'm here with more PS3 games or games available on the PS3 store that I really do think you should buy before it shuts down. Many of these are available for less than $10 or around $10 a piece when physically they go for a hell of a lot more, and a couple of these games I actually found out about them thanks to all of you. So let's not waste too much time, people. Subscribe, give me that thumbs up, and let's talk about a whole lot of games on that PS3 store. So I'm going to start this not talking about one game, not two, not three, not four, not even 5 games, people. I'm talking about over 8 different Ratchet & Clank games available right now on the PlayStation 3 store. I've been critical about some remasters and remakes, but in the case of the PS3, it really made a lot of sense because in the previous generation, we didn't have 720p, 1080p, but in the case of something like the Ratchet & Clank HD Collection, you actually get the first 3 games that came out on the PS2 in glorious high definition. Now, this collection of games is available physically, but the price continues to go up, making this one of the best deals. And I'm talking about these first 3 games, but people, there is so much more than that. You can also get Ratchet Deadlocked for just $10. Now, it's very questionable as to why they did not include this in the Ratchet & Clank HD Collection because this is part of the set, yet it's here sitting by itself, and this is not a PS2 classic, which are the games that are just ported over to the PS3. This is much like the other ones, a full-blown HD remaster. But hey, just hold on a moment here because instead of getting this game for $10, what if I told you, at least in North America, if you head on over to the PlayStation Store and you buy Full Frontal Assault, which is a PS3 game, you actually get Ratchet & Clank Deadlocked for free. Also available on the PS3 is Ratchet & Clank Tools of Destruction, which was the first Ratchet & Clank game they released for the PS3. You can also get A Crack in Time, which is also $10. And then we have Into the Nexus, which, once again, just $10, but hey, you buy that one and you get Ratchet & Clank Quest for Booty absolutely free. Apparently these were promotional deals that they kind of just never got rid of. I actually purchased both of these games that come with the other ones that are free just to make sure they worked. Some of them are action platformers, others are more top-down co-op games, and one of them is almost like a tower defense game or something like that. Most of these are available physically, but the average price for the physical games is anywhere between $15 to $60. Eventually, I would love to have a physical copy of all of these games. Right now, I only have Tools of Destruction, but for the time being, hey, I have all of these digitally on my PS3. Let's go back to 2011 and talk about Tales from Space About a Blob. You may be looking at this and going, Juan, this is not a PS3 exclusive. This game's available pretty much everywhere. Why are you talking about it? I also thought that was the case. But the game we're thinking about is this one, not that one. These titles remind me of Gish, which is one of the first indie games I ever played. I downloaded the demo on PC and I fell in love with it. And Tales from Space definitely gives me the same vibes because you're this blob, I mean it's literally in the title, Juan. And you have these Katamari Damacy type things that you can do. You absorb things, and as you absorb them, you become larger, which lets you gain access to new areas. And if the gameplay you're looking at right now doesn't necessarily convince you, there's a demo you can download on the PS3 store, so you can actually check out the game for yourself. As a matter of fact, all of the gameplay that you're watching right now is from that demo. This game is a sad reminder of the situation happening with the PS3 store because it is a digital exclusive game for the PS3, so whether you like this game or not, you're not going to be able to legally have a copy unless you buy it before July. The House of the Dead. I love saying that. The House of the Dead 4 is an interesting game to talk about because the initial release in arcades happened in 2005, while the PS3 exclusive digital release happened in 2012. You can find a lot of the other House of the Dead games in things like the Wii. I own the second and third games as part of this compilation on the Wii, and it's pretty awesome. And this is one that I'm pretty sad that it is only available on the PS3 because it's only $10, but it's only on the PSN, and I think because a lot of people associate this with like a light gun, and in the case of this one, to get the full experience, you gotta have the PlayStation Move controllers, which as the year goes on, I really want to get into that type of gaming, but for the time being, this gameplay that you're looking at right now is just me playing the game with the controllers, and it actually holds up pretty well. So whether you own the PlayStation Move stuff or not, I definitely think you should get this game. And now we're going from bloods, guts, gore, and zombies to cute duckies in Super Rub-a-Dub. And I'm actually serious about this. Released in 2007, I think this game gets a lot of bad rap because back in the day, people wanted to see these Killzone graphics, just ultimate high definition, and Sony said, hey, here's ducks in the 6-axis and you can move the controller and have a fun time. I actually loved playing this back in the day and still do, but I can understand the hate and disappointment when people told Sony, hey, I spent $600 on this console and you give me rubber ducks? What? If you like games like Super Monkey Ball and making good use of the 6-axis motion controllers, I really think you're going to have a great time with this game, and forget about the judgments, forget about any of that. As a matter of fact, there is a demo available for this game, and the full version is very, very cheap at only $7. I initially sat here to just record a little bit of gameplay, which is what you're looking at right now, but I played like over 20 stages because it's one of those things that just continues to evolve and become fun because initially, you're only just moving the controller, but then you have to jump over edges and have these adrenaline-filled experiences that you can only have with Super Rub-a-Dub. Now, before we talk about the next game, I feel like we need to make something clear. All PS3s can play PS1 games, whether we're talking about physical or digital ones. And in the case of PS2 games, only some of the initial PS3 consoles supported physical copies. Now, without talking about any modding or hacking of the consoles, Sony actually does support PS2 games on all PS3s, including the slim ones, via emulation. So when you go to the PSN and you browse some PS2 classics, all of these will play on every single PS3. There may be some visual glitches, but overall, hey, it's a PS2 game that is fully functional on a PS3. And in my case, one of the games that I purchased a couple of weeks ago and I've been playing and really enjoying, even though it's very, very frustrating, is Godhand. The digital price is only $9.99, while if you go on eBay hoping to get a physical copy, we're looking at around $99.99, so anywhere around $100 for the physical copy. This has become one of the more popular hidden gem games on the PS2, as Metal Jesus would say, because when it first came out, people panned this game. They did not like it. And I can understand why initially some people will be put off by this because it's an adventure, action, beat-em-up game. It's got a couple of different elements. You sprinkle in a little bit of RPG, and even the movement is weird, but when the game works, it really works, and it rewards you for going back time and time again, just hoping to improve. And if you want to have a challenge and damn near break your controller while playing a really good game that many people may not know about, and we probably will never have a physical copy because I wish I could, but hey people, I am not spending $100 on a PS2 game in 2021. Maybe consider getting a digital copy of Godhand. One of the biggest benefits of the PS3 store is how cheap the PS1 games are. Consider the fact that if you were to buy some of these games physically for the PS1, you'd be looking at spending anywhere between $20 to over $200 because some games are just very up there in price. But digitally, you can get these games on the PS3 between $6 to $10. The first PS1 game I'm going to talk about is one that many of you suggested in my previous video. I never played Klonoa Door to Phantomile on the PS1. This game came out in 1997, and you can get this for just $7. And just out of curiosity, I went on eBay thinking, okay, well, you know what, if it's like $30 physically, I'm just gonna get that physical copy. And then it was just like, holy crap, why is this so expensive? Can somebody please tell me why? I bought the game, I played it, and I gotta say, hey, this is pretty awesome because it blends 2D and 3D elements in a really solid platformer. Now, if you've never played this game before, I would love to know your thoughts about this, especially when it comes to the visual side, because I really like it when they blend this 2.5D style with the 2D character in the 3D world. But I know for some people, especially going back to the PS1, this may not be your cup of tea. And after having played it for over 40 minutes, I cannot wait to go back to it, and maybe eventually I share a full review. And now talking about some games that I do own, we have MegaMan Legends 1 and 2, as well as the Misadventures of Trombone. I actually have a physical copy of the first 2 games, and the third one, back in the day, it was at GameStop, it was at EB Games, and I thought to myself, this game is never gonna go up in price, and yeah. You can buy each one of these games for less than $10 a piece, and I think there's a reason why so many people talk about MegaMan Legends 3 and the fact that it never happened. I think these games were way ahead of their time because you have voiceover, third-person action, RPG elements, a really fun story, and visually they are beautiful. These games are a great reminder that Mega Man is not just your 2D side-scrolling game. Whether we're talking about these games or the Mega Man Battle Network games on the GBA, which I freaking loved, and I hope to play again at some point in the future, I think you owe it to yourself to at least try these games out. If they're not your cup of tea, then hey, guess what? You didn't spend over $100 on a physical copy. Here, it's below $10. Now, I think a lot of channels are doing a great job at talking about specific PS3 exclusive games available on the PSN that you should buy before they go away, but there's a completely different side of the conversation that a lot of people seem to overlook. The first one, demos. Say you're on a tight budget, or maybe you're skeptical about buying a game, get the demo and try it out. I played a ton of games in prep for this video, and some of them I almost recommended them, but there's some good things about them, but then others just kind of turned me away. A good example is Fuel Overdose. It's a top-down action racing game that really has a lot of elements because it even has analog stick input combinations, kind of like a fighting game, and it feels great, but there's something very stiff about the racing, the acceleration, but the demo is very fun, and if you get this and you enjoy it, you can actually get the full game. Another game that I'm not going to say is great, but it was a fun play just to see what the demo was like, is Dungeon Hunter Alliance. These games came out way back in the day on iOS. I think it's also available on the Vita, but this game on the PS3 is basically a Diablo clone. I think the reason this game was not that successful is that you have Diablo on the PS3, but the reason that I'm talking about these is that once the store shuts down, even if you were just curious about experiencing other games you didn't know about, you're not going to be able to, so check out some of these demos. You don't even have to download them. As long as you proceed to the purchase screen, you can cancel the download, and even once the store shuts down in July, you should be able to re-download these whenever you want. And in case this conversation about demos has you wondering about other games available on the PS3 store, here's a small showcase of some of those games.
You to hit the shoot button when you want to attack. Come on, don't tell me guys get paid to write this junk.
And the last thing I gotta talk about, DLC. This is the one part that I really had not considered and made me very anxious because historically, I don't really buy DLC for games, but I've talked about forever that I've been playing Folklore. I feel like this has become a long-running joke, but once I went to the store, hey, this game has free DLC and paid DLC, and this frustrated me because it puts me in a very tough spot. Do I get this DLC that's maybe not too great and I have it there for whenever I want, or do I choose to not get it? Eventually, I'm curious about experiencing it, and legally, I don't have a way of doing it. My advice is to take a good look at your PS3 collection and search the names of the games and see if there's any free DLC. Even like something like the Lara Croft Guardian of Light game, you have some free Kane and Lynch DLC. There's just so much stuff out there, whether it be free skins, free characters, time trial missions, and this is not including the conversation about paid stuff, so you may want to spend a little bit of time in that part of the store. Otherwise, you may regret not doing so in the future. So friends, those have been a couple of the games available on that PS3 store that I really do think you should consider buying before they go away. Things like the House of the Dead 4, I didn't even really know about, but on the previous video, so many of you gave me a list of 10, 15, 20 games worth checking out that I actually spent hours just flat out browsing the store, the DLC, the demos, and this is a curated selection of the games that I really do think are worth checking out. Please don't be afraid to go down to the comment section and continue to share those lists. And before I close off this video, we do got to talk about a pretty concerning topic, which I don't know if many of you are caught up about this, but there's been a lot of reports, and it's been basically confirmed information that the internal battery of the PlayStation 3, if the PS3 detects that the battery's life ran out, basically it blocks off the ability to play any of your digital purchases because it can't really figure out the date of when you bought these, if anything is going to expire, which is obviously very, very concerning. Now, there have been different workarounds, ways of repairing it, which is kind of a pain, not gonna lie, based on the videos that I've seen. Some people, every time they turn the console on, they've had to basically reset some dates because people have had that problem happen now. And maybe now it's not being blown out of proportion, but let's talk about 5, 10 years down the line, when all of our PS3s are 20 years old and things like that. That's going to be a very concerning situation. And I've had a couple of people in the comments say, hey, how dare you talk about digital games and the fact that maybe they can't play them in the future. I think that everybody, if you're an adult, you do whatever you want with your money. I bought these games. I'm not just going here and talking about hypotheticals, throwing these out there, and I'm not the one making the purchase. I really am. And luckily, I have 2 PS3s. I have one as a backup, but I do have to educate myself a little bit about replacing that battery or other workarounds. But I would love to know, as I mentioned, which are other games that maybe more so than recommending, you're just going to be sad at the fact that, hey, if you didn't buy this come July, this is just part of gaming history, right? I would really love to know that. And thank you so much for the overwhelming support in that video. We have thousands upon thousands of views and passionate people from the PlayStation community. So hopefully you enjoyed this part 2 and the mix of new and older games. So if you like what I do, make sure to subscribe. Give me that thumbs up. Follow me at twitch.tv/MrPlayerJuan, where we actually even just flat out browsed the PlayStation 3 stores. And I just want to say, I'm wearing this wrestling shirt, and it kind of exemplifies the situation happening with Sony in the PS3 store, where we have Shawn Michaels, which let's say that's Sony, and then we have Ric Flair getting super kicked, and that is Sony super kicking the hell out of the PlayStation store. But I don't think they're saying I love you. They're just really saying I don't care too much. But that's my little rant at the end. Thanks for watching, supporting, and take care, everybody.